Base talks. Now in this class we are discussing the subject is power system architecture. Okay, so now in this class we are discussing about fourth unit modeling of transmission lines. Okay, so in previous class we have to see about so the transmission modeling according to the distance of the transmission line. The transmission lines are classified into short transmission lines, medium transmission lines, and long transmission lines. Okay, so in previous class we are discussing about how you can modeling what are the methods to modeling of these transmission lines we are discussing. Okay, so next in this unit, next topic is surge impedance. Okay, what is the next topic? Surge impedance. See here, surge impedance is nothing but the characteristic. So this surge impedance is also called as the characteristics impedance. Okay, see here the characteristic impedance or surge impedance. Okay, so it is generally written as a Z0. Okay, so the surge impedance of a uniform transmission line. Okay, uniform transmission line is the ratio of amplitudes of voltage and current. Okay, so it is the ratio of amplitudes of voltage and current of a single wave propagation along the line. Okay, so whenever you have to take the amplitude of the voltage to current of single wave propagating along the line. Whenever you have to, so if suppose whenever you have to transmit the AC, so AC is nothing but in the form of waveforms. Okay, AC is nothing but in the form of sinusoidal current is in the form of sinusoidal waveforms. So whenever you have to take the single wave propagation, okay, whenever only you have to take the single wave propagation, so at that time whenever you have considered the single wave propagation, so at that time here the amplitude of voltage and current is nothing but the surge impedance. That is a wave traveling in one direction in the absence of reflection in other directions. Okay, so that means the wave only travels in one direction. Okay, so there will be no reflections. Okay, there will be no reflections in the another direction. Okay, see here characteristics impedance. How you can determine the characteristics impedance means, see here characteristics impedance is determined by the geometry and materials of the transmission lines. Okay, so geometry means in how much space. Okay, so how much space. Okay, it will be lies. Okay, so that means the impedance value will be lies. Okay, so here characteristics impedance is determined by the geometry and materials of the transmission line, and for a uniform line it is not dependent on its length. Okay, so here characteristics impedance is determined by the geometry and materials. Okay, what are the materials used for the manufacturing of transmission line and for a and it is not depend on its length. Okay, so here the characteristics impedance does not depends on the length. Okay, so what are the SI unit of the characteristic impedance? Impedance is nothing but the impedance characteristics impedance units will be ohms. Okay, so the characteristics impedance units will be ohms. See here the characteristic impedance of a lossless transmission line is purely real. Okay, with no reactive component. Whenever you have to take any one transmission line without any losses, so at that time the characteristics impedance, okay, the characteristic impedance of that lossless transmission line is purely real. Okay, so that is a purely real with no reactive component. Okay, see here energy supplied by the source at one end of the line is transmitted through the line without being dissipated in the line itself. Okay, so the energy, okay, so the energy supplied at one end of such line is transmitted through the line, okay, without being dissipated in the line itself. Okay, see here a transmission line of finite length that is terminated at one end with an impedance equal to the characteristic impedance appears to the source like an infinity long transmission line produces no reflection. Okay, whenever we have to take the transmission line of finite length, that means whenever you have to take the transmission line that having no losses. Okay, so at that time that is terminated at one end with an equal impedance equal to the, okay, at that time the impedance of that line will be equal to the characteristic impedance appears to the source like an infinity long transmission line. Whenever you have to take the infinity long transmission line without no reflection, so at that time what is the amount of the characteristic impedance produces, that is equal to the a transmission line of finite length impedance. Okay, so this is nothing but the surge impedance. See here the surge impedance loading. Next topic is surge impedance loading. See here the surge impedance loading. So it is denoted as the SIL. Okay, in shortcut we have to written as SIL. Okay, surge impedance loading of a line is the power load at which the net reactive power is 0. Okay, so the surge impedance loading of a line is the power load. Okay, at which the net reactive power is 0. Whenever the power value will be 0, okay, at that time the impedance will be called as a surge impedance loading. So if your transmission line wants to absorb reactive power, the SLI is the amount of the reactive power you would have to produce to balance it out to 0. Okay. So whenever, okay, so here I am says that the surge impedance loading of a line is the power load at which the reactive power is 0. But here, so if your transmission line wants to absorb reactive power, okay, whenever it absorbs the reactive power, then SIL is the, okay, surge impedance loading is the amount of reactive power would have to produce, balance it out to 0. Okay, so at the time SIL, okay, SIL is the amount of reactive power. Okay, so at that time it produces the amount of reactive power to balance out to 0. Okay, to make that reactive power in the transmission line value will be 0 at that time to produce the impedance. Okay, so that impedance will be called as the surge impedance loading. You can calculate it by dividing the square of the line to line voltage by the line's characteristics impedance. Okay, okay, you can calculate this surge by dividing the square of the line to line voltage. Okay, line to line voltage by the line's characteristics impedance. Okay, so whenever we have to dividing the square of the line to line voltage by the characteristics impedance, at that time here you can get the surge impedance loading. Okay, see here transmission lines. Okay, so transmission lines can be considered as a small inductance in series and small capacitance to add. Okay, so whenever we have to consider a transmission lines, so at that time a small inductance, okay, inductance in a series and a small capacitance to add in very large number of these combinations in series. Okay, so this combination, small inductance and small capacitance combinations are connected in series. See here, whatever the voltage drop occurs due to the inductance gets compensated by the capacitance. So what is the inductance value occurs in the transmission lines? Okay, that value will be gets compensated by the capacitance. If this compensation is exact, okay, whenever this compensation is exact, we have surge impedance loading and no voltage drop occurs of an infinite length. Okay, whenever the compensation, okay, that means whenever whatever the voltage drop occurs due to inductance, that will be compensated by the capacitance. If this compensation, okay, so this compensation process is exact, we have surge impedance loading and no voltage drop occurs for an infinite length. Okay, so at that time there will be no need of the surge impedance. Why? Because so at that time no voltage drop occurs for finite length. Finite length terminated by the impedance of this load. Okay, so impedance of this line ZS can be proved square root of L by C. Okay, so surge impedance will be proved as square root of L by C, square root of inductance by capacitance. If capacitive compensation is more than required, which may happen or unloaded EHV lines, then you have voltage rise at other end. The Ferrari, although given in many books, continues to remain an interesting discussion. See here, if capacitive compensation is more than required, so whenever the compensation will be more, so whatever the compensation value required, so which may happen on unloaded EHV lines. Okay, so this maybe occurs in a extra high voltage lines. Why? Because you have to voltage rise at the other end due to the Ferranti effect. So in this class later you have discussing what is the Ferranti effect. Okay, so due to the Ferranti effect, the voltage at any other end maybe rises. So due to that capacitive so increases. Okay. See here, the capacitive reactive power associated with the transmission line increases directly as the square root of the voltage is proportional to the line capacitance and length. Okay, so the capacitive reactive power. Okay, so what is the reactive power associated with the transmission line? Increases directly as the square root of the voltage is proportional to the capacitance and length. Okay, so whenever the voltage value will be increases, the capacitance value will be also increases. Here the capacitance has two effects. Okay, the capacitance has two effects. So the two effects, see here, Ferranti effect. Net effects. What is the one of the effect is Ferranti effect. So what is the rise in the voltage resulting from the capacitive current of the line flowing to the source impedances at the terminations of the line. Okay. So what is the voltage rise? Whenever we have to take the capacitive current, okay, so in capacitive current there will be rise in the voltage, okay, so there will be rise in the voltage resulting that the line flowing through the source impedance at the termination of the line, okay, at the terminus, okay, at the terminations, ending points of the line flowing through the source impedance. SIL is the surge impedance loading and is calculated as kV into kV by Zs, okay, that means voltage square by Zs, okay, their units are megawatts. Okay, so and units are the units for the surge impedance loading will be megawatts. Okay, see here where Zs is the surge impedance. Where one thing is surge impedance and other very difficult, and the other the very different is the surge impedance. Surge impedance loading and surge impedance both are different. Okay, this is a power value and this will be a impedance value. So next topic is wavelength. So that means here. So what is the power transmitted along the transmission lines is the whenever AC. So whenever you have to consider the AC, so AC in the form of say wave. Okay, so any particular wave having particular wavelengths. Okay, so here wavelength is the distance between identical points in the adjacent cycles of a waveform or signal propagated in a space or along a wire. Okay, so wavelength is nothing but the distance. Okay, so the distance between distance between the identical points in the adjacent cycles of a waveform. Okay, so whenever you have to take a adjacent cycles of a waveform, okay, wavelength is nothing but the distance between the identical points. Okay, so the distance between the identical points in the adjacent cycles of a waveform, okay, propagated along a wire is called as the wavelength. In wireless systems, this length is usually specified in meters. Okay, so this is centimeters or millimeters. Okay, so wireless. So without wireless systems, the length is specified in meters, centimeters, or in the case of infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, and gamma function, and the wavelength is more specified in nanometers. In case of infrared, so whenever, so any length, light will having also some particular wavelength. Okay, in case of infrared, okay, infrared, visible light, okay, ultraviolet, and gamma radiations, the wavelength is more often specified in the nanometers. Okay. Are in angstrom units. Okay, 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power of minus meters. Or angstrom units, 1 angstrom unit equal to 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. Okay, so these are the units for the wavelength. See here, this is a one sinusoidal wave. Whenever you have to consider, this is one half adjacent cycle. Okay, this is one cycle and this is another cycle. These two are adjacent cycles. So in between these two adjacent cycles, you have to consider the two past two cycles peak points. That means same identical points. Whenever you have to consider the same identical points of the adjacent cycles, so at that time the distance between these 2 points will be considered as the wavelength. Okay. See here, wavelength is inversely related to the frequency. Okay, so wavelength value is always inversely proportional to the frequency. The higher the frequency of the signal, the shorter the wavelength. Okay, so because of the inversely proportional, so whenever the higher the frequency of the signal, okay, so at that time the wavelength value will be short. The frequency of the signal is measured in megahertz. Okay, and W is the wavelength and it is measured in meters. Then W equal to 300 by F. Okay, so what is the formula between these two? One W equal to 300 and conversely F equal to 300 by W. Okay, So wavelength, so this is W wavelength. Sometimes wavelength may be represented by the Greek letter lambda. Okay, so maybe this will be denoted with the, so this wavelength value will be also denoted with the lambda. Next one, velocity of propagation. Okay, so velocity of propagation. See here, velocity of propagation is a measure of how fast a signal travels over time or the speed of the transmitted signal as compared to the speed of the light. Okay, so velocity of propagation is nothing but with how much velocity. Okay, so that signal the signal will be travels. Okay, see here, velocity of propagation is a measure of how fast a signal travels over time. Okay, over a time period. Okay, how much with how much velocity the signal will travels at the speed of the transmitted signal as compared to the speed of the light. Okay, as well as the speed of the transmitted signal compared to the speed of the light. Okay, in computer technology, the velocity of the propagation of an electrical or electromagnetic signal is the speed of the transmission through physical medium such as coaxial cable or optical fiber. Okay, so in our computer technology, velocity of propagation. Okay, so velocity of the propagation is nothing but the velocity of the propagation is nothing but is the speed of the transmission. Okay, so that is speed of the transmission through a physical medium such as coaxial cable or optical fiber. Okay, so there is also a direct relation between velocity of propagation and wavelength. Okay, so here there will be a direct relation in between the velocity and wavelength. Velocity of propagation is often stated either as percentage of the speed of the light, okay, or as time to distance. Okay, so velocity of the propagation will be taken as the percentage of speed of the light or as time to distance. This is the velocity of propagation. So next we have to see Ferranti effect. Okay, how why Ferranti effect occurs in transmission line? We have to discuss here. Okay. See here, in general practice, we know that for all electrical systems, current flows from region of higher potential to the region of lower potential. Okay, so in common, in most, okay, so in general, okay, so in all electrical systems, okay, the current will flows from the region of higher potential to the region of lower potential to compensate for the potential difference that exists in the system. Why always the current will flow from higher potential to lower potential means to compensate the potential difference. So what is the potential difference occurs in the electrical system to compensate that value. Okay, so here always, okay, the current will flow from higher potential to the lower potential in all practical cases. Okay, in practical cases, the sending end voltage is higher than the receiving end voltage. Okay, so in practical, the sending end voltage is higher than the receiving end. So current flows from the source or the supply end to the load. This is in practical. So in the year of 1890, S.J. Ferranti, okay, so the scientist S.J. Ferranti in the year of 1890 came up with an astonishing theory about medium or long distance transmission line, suggesting that in case of light loading or no load operation of the transmission system. Okay, so the scientist S.J. Ferranti, okay, so in the year of 1890, he will came up with a astonishing theory about medium or long distance transmission line, suggesting that in the case of light loading or no load operation of system. So whenever the transmission line having no load, okay, or suppose they consisting of a light load, okay, so that means medium and long distance transmission lines. Okay, whenever the medium and long distance transmission lines suggesting the light loading or there will be no load operation of systems, so at that time the receiving end voltage often increases beyond the sending end voltage. So in that cases, the receiving end voltage, okay, so the receiving end voltage increases beyond the sending end voltage, leading to the phenomena of Ferranti effect in power systems. So whenever the receiving end voltages will be increases more than the sending end voltages, so at that time Okay, so that at that time that there will be a some effect will be occurs. Okay, such phenomena is called as the Ferranti effect. Okay, Ferranti effect in power system. Okay, see here why Ferranti effect occurs in a transmission line means, see here, a long transmission line can be considered to compose a considerable high amount of capacitance and inductance distributed across the entire length of the line. Okay, so whenever you have to take a long transmission line, okay, so this long transmission line can be considered, okay, so it is considered to be composed a considerable high amount of capacitance and inductance distributed across the entire length of the line, okay, and it is distributed. So Ferranti effect occurs when the current drawn by the distributed capacitance of the line itself greater than the current associated with the load at the receiving end of the line. Okay, so that means whenever we have to, whenever transmission line having light load or if suppose no load, so at that time the current drawn by the capacitance of the line itself. Okay, so what is the capacitance value occurs in the line is itself greater than the current associated with the load. Okay, so what is the current at the load point more than the current at the load point. The effect will be called as Ferranti effect. See here, the capacitor charging current. Okay, so at that time the capacitor charging current leads to voltage drop across the line inductance of the transmission system which is in phase with the sending end voltage. Okay, so at that time, okay, so this the capacitor charging current leads to the voltage drop across the line inductance. Okay, so at that time it leads to the voltage drop across the line inductance of the transmission system which is in phase with the sending end voltage. Okay, so at that time it is in phase with the sending end voltage. Okay, this voltage drop keeps on increasing additively as we move towards the load end of the line. Okay, so at that time this voltage drop keeps on increasing. Okay, so additively load end of the line. Okay, so that voltage drop will be increases at the end of the line and subsequently the receiving end voltage tends to get larger than the applied. So because of this reason, only this reason, okay, so the receiving end voltage will be, it tends to get larger than the applied voltage. Okay, okay, sending end voltage. Okay, so this phenomena is called the Ferranti effect. Okay, so this phenomena will be called as Ferranti effect in power system. Okay, by using the phasor diagram, so you can explain this one. And see here, this is sending end voltage. Okay, this is the capacitor charging current. This is the receiving end voltage. See here, the up to here sending end voltage. So in actual, the sending end voltage is equal. Actual the grade. So the sending end voltage is in actual transmission line. That means without Ferranti effect. Okay, so the sending end voltage is more than the receiving end voltage. But here, due to the Ferranti effect in transmission line, the receiving end voltage. See here, the receiving end voltage is more than the sending end voltage. See here, so thus both the capacitance and inductance effect of transmission line are equally responsible for this particular phenomena to occur, and hence Ferranti effect is negligible in case of the short transmission lines. Okay. So whenever Ferranti effect will occur, so that both capacitance and inductance are equally responsible. Okay, so to occur the Ferranti effect in the transmission lines, so for the transmission, so why it is so because of the capacitance and the inductance, they play the equal role. Okay, equal role to occur the Ferranti effect. So, but in short transmission lines, the inductance value is negligible. Okay, so that is nearly zero. Okay, so the inductance value is zero in the short transmission line. Okay, so that's why here the Ferranti effect. Okay, so the Ferranti effect is negligible in case of the short transmission line. Okay, why? Because as the inductance of such a line is practically considered to be nearing zero. Okay, so in a short transmission lines, the inductance value will be zero. Okay, so that's why Ferranti effect will be negligible. In general, for a 300-kilometer line, okay, so whenever you have to take a 300-kilometer line operating at a frequency of 50 Hz, okay, 50 Hz, the no load receiving end voltage has been to be found 5% higher than the sending end voltage. Okay, so whenever you have to take the 300 kilometer line operating at 50 Hz, okay, the no load. So whenever you have to consider no load, the receiving end voltage is more than 5% of the sending end voltage. Okay, see here. Now, for analysis of Ferranti effect, let us consider the phasor diagram. See here. Here you have to consider the phasor diagram. Okay. Here VR is considered to be reference phasor represented by OA. So VR, reference phasor, receiving end voltage, it is represented by OA. Okay. Thus VR equal to VR of 1 plus J0. Okay. So that means resistance and inductive component. Okay. So capacitance current IC equal to J omega C VR. Now sending end voltage equal to Vs equal to VR plus resistive drop plus reactive drop. That means whenever you have to add these all drops to VR, so at that time receiving end voltage value will be more. Okay, so that means VR plus ICR plus J ICX. Okay, so in this IC common R plus JX. So IC value will be J omega C VR. R plus X value will be omega L. At that time Vs equal to VR minus omega C CL. CL VR plus J omega C R VR. Okay, so at that time Vs will becomes VR minus omega C CL VR plus J omega R CR. This is represented by the phasor OC. See here, the Vs value will be represented by the OC Vs. Okay, OC. Okay. Now in case of long transmission line, it has been practically observed that the line resistance is negligible, small compared to the line reactance. Hence, you can assume that the length of the phasor IC are equal to 0. You can consider rise in the voltage only due to OO minus OC, that is equal to reactive drop in the line. Okay, so but in case of the long transmission lines, okay, whenever you have to take the long transmission lines, so at that time, okay, in practically the line resistance is negligible. The line resistance is negligible compared to the line reactance. Okay, so at that time, hence you can assume the phasor of IC are equal to 0. You can consider the rise in the voltage only due to OA minus OC, reactive drop in the OA minus OC. Okay, so this is only reactive drop. Okay, reactive drop in the transmission line. Now, if you consider C0 and L0 are the values of capacitance and inductance per kilometer of the transmission line, where L is the length of the line. Okay. So, whenever here you have to consider the C0, L0 are the values of capacitance and inductance per kilometer length of the transmission line, and where L is the length of the at the time the capacitive reactance X equal to 1 by omega L C0. In case of long transmission line, the capacitance is distributed throughout the length. The average current value. Okay, so at the time the average current value flowing is half VR by XC. Okay, so VR means VR omega, XC means C0. Okay, so now the inductive reactance of the line is omega L naught L. Okay, that means here you can assume per kilometer length of the line. Okay, L. Okay, so the rise in voltage due to the inductance is given by ICX equal to half VR omega omega L C naught X L naught I. So at that time voltage rise half VR omega square I square C naught L naught. Okay, so from this equation it is absolutely evident that rise in voltage at the receiving end is directly proportional to the square of the line length. See here the rise in voltage rise is proportional to the square of the length. Okay, square of the length of the line. Okay, so and hence in case of a long transmission line, it keeps increasing the length and even goes to beyond the applied and sending voltage attach, leading to the phenomena called Ferranti effect in power systems. So here the voltage will be rise with the inverse square of the length. So whenever the length will be increases, so at that time the voltage rise will be increases. So at that time it may be causes the Ferranti effect. Okay, so that's why from this equation here you can say that the Ferranti effect is only occurs in the long transmission lines. Okay, that ever so that means whenever the distance value will be increases, Okay, so that at the time the Ferranti effect value will be occurs. Okay, so that's why here the Ferranti effect will be occurs in the long transmission lines only. Okay, so now in this class we are discussing about the some of the some short or important topics related to the transmission lines. Those are surge impedance loadings, wavelength, velocity of propagation. Okay, why Ferranti effect will be occurs in the transmission lines. Okay, so those are all discussed in this class. Okay, so all of you please subscribe this channel. Okay, and all of you please. Okay, thank you.